Hello fellow duelists, this is Shadow of the Moon, and today I'm going to be showing you an updated deck profile of my Blackwing deck for May of 2022. So this deck is always constantly evolving and changing, especially because with how the game is and everything. So I always try to post a Blackwing deck profile at least once a month or so. So expect another one probably in around late June or in July. But with the release of the Albaz structure deck, this allowed me to get a lot of comments to be able to put into my side deck that I'm going to be showing you probably for the first time. I am excited about showing this because I've always wanted to show off my side deck because it is something that I've always perpetually been working on for a long time now. And I think you're really going to enjoy that, and you're going to enjoy what's in the deck. But without further ado, let's get started. I also just wanted to say thank you so much for all my new subscribers and everybody that watches my content. You guys rock. Thank you so much. You guys help me always improve my decks by commenting and stuff, and just by watching my channel, everything. You guys, if it wasn't for you, I would not be able to post these videos because I honestly wouldn't have. I'd just be literally just a guy talking to himself behind a camera. So without any further ado, let's go ahead finally and get straight on into the deck profile. So I'm also trying to adjust the camera as much as I can because I know that's a little bit like flimsy and everything. So if you just bear with me as much as you can. I'm trying to make it as even as possible. Alright, so first we're going to run 3 copies of Simoon, the Poison Wind. Simoon is very important in this deck. This allows you to, by revealing him from your hand, banishing a Blackwing monster, you can automatically play Black Whirlwind directly from the deck. Now what makes that important is if you also use its effect to summon him, you can get Oster, and Oster will allow you to special summon back the banished Blackwing monster, which is very, very, very important in this deck because you're going to want to constantly have that field presence and have those Blackwings and stuff on the field. So if you have like a Gust or if you have like a Martin the Dust, that's going to allow you to go into a Gen Buster, which is very, very, very useful in this deck because it can stop the Bureau and your opponent's hand traps. So next we're going to be running 2 copies of Chris the Crack of Dawn. Chris is important because Chris even though it's not like a Boar of the Spear, if you control a Blackwing monster other than Chris the Crack of Dawn, you can special summon this card from your hand. And also he is unaffected by trap cards during the battle phase, but what makes him good is the fact that he can be special summoned because he's also a extender. Then we've got 3 copies of Boar of the Spear. Boar of the Spear is quite possibly one of the best Blackwings in this deck because it is not a once per turn, and as long as you control a Blackwing monster other than Boar of the Spear, you can special summon this card from your hand. So if it gets bounced back by some chance or whatever, you can special summon it again to your side of the field, as long as you control a Blackwing monster other than Boar of the Spear. And then we run 3 copies of Zephyros the Elite. Zephyros the Elite, you can run 1 if you want. I honestly don't know why a lot of people don't run the 3 because this is a mandatory effect. You want to see Zephyros and you want to see Simoon in your hand to be able to go into your place because you can banish Zephyros the Elite, get it back using Oster the South One with this effect, and then being able to, if it's in the graveyard, bounce a face-up card back to the field, pay 400 life points to special summon it, and is a level 4 extender. Now, if you can bounce back the Black Whirlwind, that's great because that's what you're going to want to do to avoid that 1,000 point of damage and avoid it being destroyed. Its effect is only once per duel, but by then you're going to not have a problem activating its effect from that. And then just 2 copies of Oster, the South Wind. You don't want to see this card in your hand. This is something that you want to be able to search for using Black Whirlwind. So what this does is it special summons a banished Blackwing monster back to your side of the field. And then if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to add wedge counters on all your opponent's face-up monsters. So you can activate Full Armor Master's effect and either take control of the selected monster, and then at the end phase of the turn, destroy all monsters that have wedge counters on them. And then we're going to run 1 Gale the Whirlwind. Gale is just like Boar of the Spear. I only run 1 in here because it is just the tuner. It bounces if it gets bounced back. You can special summon it as long as you control a Blackwing monster other than Gale the Whirlwind. So it is not a once per turn. Then we have 3 copies of Gust the Backblast, quite possibly one of the best cards in this deck. Now what this guy does is you can either special summon him from your hand if you control no cards, or you can also go to a secondary thing is going to be if you have it in your hand with Simoon, you banish it using Simoon's effect, and then this will help you go into your Gen Buster. I love using this card because it is a level 2 and it is a great extender for the deck. And then we run 3 copies of Martin the Dust. I did bump this up to 3 because 3 is honestly a much better number for this card. You want to see this card, you want to be able to search for it. It's a very useful card to be able to have because it can modify its level by selecting the face-up Blackwing. So you can either make it a level 5 to go into a Borreload Savage Dragon, or you can make it a level 4 to go into a full Armor Master. So it's very, 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 very useful in this deck. And then lastly, one copy of Orochi the Squall. Orochi the Squall is an extender because if you control Blackwing monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. It is a level 1 tuner, which works really, really well with the deck. And if it gets sent to the graveyard as a secret material, you can select one monster on the field and change its battle position. But it is once per turn, just like all the other Blackwing monsters except for Bora and Gale. Alright, so that's it for the Blackwings. Let's move on to the hand traps. So we're going to be running 3 DD Crows. This is a great card because this will allow you to discard as a quick effect to banish a card in your opponent's graveyard. So if they try to act like DPE or they try to activate a card in their graveyard, you can be able to banish it to kind of similarly negate the effect. Now, with that being said, if you have a Side Frame Gear Gamma or a Ash Blossom, please, by all means, in the comment section, maybe we can work out a trade, tell me, so that way maybe we can, like, trade or something, and I can be able to show you what I have available. I do love DD Crow, but I am looking to upgrade it because this deck is constantly evolving, and I wanted to make it a little bit more competitive, maybe more meta, to be able to go around with other players, and also by testing it and everything, I saw that Gamma did work quite well. Also, if you do have the Gamma, the other Gamma card, the one that's a level 6 normal monster that goes with it, also, I would definitely love that. But this isn't a great card by no means, so please don't, bash it or anything, because it is still an amazing card. And then we have the Phantom Knights extenders. You've got your Strangle of Lanius, you've got your Raiders Wing, and you've got your Silent Boost. This is going to special summon yourself if you control a dark monster. This is going to detach a material to special summon this from the hand or graveyard, and then this is going to be used for material to dump into the graveyard by Rusty Bardich's effect to set a Phantom Knight spell trap, and then banish it to add 1 to your hand. And then lastly, we're going to be running 1 Radion. Radion is in here for the Small World engine. Now, if you cannot afford Small World, because Small World is about $40 or so, that is completely okay. Another budget option would be Wing Requital, which is a great card, because Wing Requital, if you have 2 Winged Beast monsters on the field with different names, you can draw 2 cards by paying life points. If you don't have Small World, you can replace this with either another Oster, you can replace this with a Gale, you can replace this with a Krista Krakadon if you want another level 4, and the deck can still be just as good. It's the only reason it's in here is for that, and also the fact that since it is a Kaiju, if you do by some chance draw it, you can use it against your opponent to kind of get rid of one of their pesky monsters that they have. Alright, so that's it for the monsters. Let's move on to the spells. So now we have 3 copies of Black Whirlwind. Black Whirlwind is such a great card. This is what's going to help you speed up your deck, because if you normal summon a Blackwing monster, you can add to your hand a Blackwing monster that is a lower level, so this is going to help you definitely go into all your plays, and Black Whirlwind is such an amazing card. And then we've got 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness is going to allow you to draw 2 cards first, which is great, and then you just banish a dark monster. So if you have a DD Crow, or you have an extra Blackwing like Gus or Martin or whatever, you can banish that, and it basically gives you 2 free draw cards. Alright, so then we're going to be using the Small World. Like I said, if you don't want to run this, you can run Wing Requital, which is just as good. So how this is going to work is you banish a card face down in your hand, and you banish a card in your deck that has either the same attribute, type, level, whatever, and then from there you can add from your deck to your hand that has a monster that has the same attribute, type, level, and all that stuff. So essentially what that's going to help you do is to be able to go into Simoon by grabbing Simoon or one of the cards that you may need, like a Zephyros or another Blackwing monster. So this is a great extender and great searcher for the deck. If you can't afford it, Wing Requital is another great option. Honestly, I wish I could play Pot of Prosperity, because I love that card. I play that all the time in Master Duel because they do not have Small World, but that's a $100 plus card, so yeah, definitely cannot afford that. And then we have our 2 rank up cards. We've got rank up Phantom Knight's Force and rank up Magic Launch. This is going to be in here for the rank up to Arsenal Falcon, and this is specifically in here for Kali Yuga to kind of make your opponent give you the handshake. A good game. And then we have 1 copy for your traps. You've got Shade Brigandine. This is going to count as a level 4 extender, and this is something that you can use set using Rusty Bardich's effect. So this definitely comes in handy because you are running a lot of level 4s in this deck, because you have a lot of rank 4 monsters in the extra deck. So that's it for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. So first we've got 1 copy of Full Armor, 1 copy of Armor Master, and 1 copy of Obsidian Tamer Hawkjoe. These are my Blackwing in the extra deck. So basically, I'm never going to get rid of Armor Master. I love this card. I've had this card for pretty much almost as long as I've had the Blackwing deck, and I love it to pieces. It's like my favorite card of all time. I just will never take it out, no matter what Blackwing deck variable I play, I will never be taking this guy out. The same can be said for Obsidian Tamerhawk Joe. So how this works is, this is going to cannot be destroyed by battle, and if they attack it, they get a wedge counters on there. So at your turn, when you attack, you can remove a wedge counter on your opponent's monsters to make their attack 0 until the end of the phase of the turn, which can really, really help. And then Obsidian Tamerhawk Joe can resurrect a level 5 or higher Blackwing monster in your graveyard. Also, with obviously Former Master, it is unaffected by card effects. It is very hard to get off the field, even with it being 3K. So nothing can pretty much target it or anything. It's unaffected. They can kaiju it and use like super poly stuff to get around it. But if you have an monster, you can remove it. You can remove that from play to put wedge counters on your opponent's monsters, and then from there you can either steal an opponent's monster, and then at the end phase of the turn, destroy all monsters on the field that have wedge counters. So it is a great, great card. I love using it, and it is the best Blackwing extra deck monster in my opinion. And then we run one Borreload Savage Dragon. If you're not able to afford this guy, because he can be expensive, Drake Berserker of the Tenya is another good substitute, because even though that doesn't affect Spell Trap and Effect, it works with effects, and it is, in my opinion, it is just as good. This works as pretty much as going to be your Omni Negate. You're going to be using this to negate your opponent's Spell Trap and Effect if they try to activate it on your turn. And then if you have it on the field, and then you've got your materials ready for Kali Yuga, you can go into Kali Yuga and kind of just shut down the field. Alright, so now we're going to be running Ultimate Falcon. I'm so happy to have this guy in the deck, because Ultimate Falcon is so busted. Is essentially a full armor master with 500 more attacks, so they have a very, very hard time getting over this. And how this works is you can attach a material to negate all face-up cards on your opponent's side of the field until the end phase of the turn. But mainly he is in here because he's a 3500, and it is very, very hard to get him off the field. And then we're going to be playing the Kali Yuga. So basically how this card works is very, very simple. You play it on your opponent's turn, you activate it, negates all face-up cards on your opponent's side of the field, and any card that they play from the rest of the turn is going to be negated if it hits the field. So it's basically like Handshake GG, because it is that overpowered. Kali Yuga also has a secondary effect that if you detach a material, you can destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. So this guy is devastating. I love using him, and he's just amazing. He's so cool. And then we've got Arsenal Falcon, which will help you go into Kali Yuga and Ultimate Falcon. And if you want to use a secondary effect, you can, which is you can attach a material to special summon a level 4 Winged Beast monster from your deck. Also, when he is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Raid Raptor monster from your extra deck, meaning you can special summon the Ultimate Falcon. Then we use Raider Knight and Arc Rebellion Exceed Dragon. I know a lot of Blackwing players and a lot of players in general may not play this card anymore, but I love seeing the look on my opponent's face when it's my turn, second turn, and I play this, and they have like a bunch of 3,000, 4,000 monsters on the field, and basically I just negate all their effects and then attack them for like 13,000, 14,000 points of damage. Also, we're going to be running Time Thief. Time Thief is great because it has 3 different effects depending on what material to attach. If you attach a monster card, you can banish the card to the end phase of the turn. If you have a spell card, you can draw. And then if you have a trap card, you can bounce back a card on the field. So he is actually very, very useful. And also, since he's a rank 4, he works with the deck. And then we have Gaga Gaga Magician. Say that 5 times fast, at least. Gaga Gaga Magician will let you get back your Arsenal Falcon to go into your Kali Yuga next turn. That is why he's in here. And then we've got Force Strix. Force Strix is going to be a great extender because it's going to special summon. It's going to add a level 4 Dark Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand. And then Djinn Buster. You know, at first I never knew how important this card was in the format, but Djinn Buster, the object is to be able to have Simoon, banish either a Gust or a Martin, add Oster, normal summon Oster, use its effect to special summon the Gust or Hamartin, and then special summon Hamartin the Dust, and then overlay those 2 level 2s into this guy, and then obviously this will be your 5th summon, so that way if they try to Nibiru it, and then or try to activate an effect, you can attach 2 materials to negate it. And then we're going to be running just 2 of the links. We've got Rusty Bard each, and we've got Force Strix. This is going to send your Silent Boost to the graveyard to set your Phantom Knight spell and trap, and Force Strix is going to help you go into your plays by being able to special summon a level 4 Winged Beast monster from your extra deck. Alright, so that's it for the deck and extra deck. Let's go on to the side deck now, finally. So I'm really excited about this one. We've got Northam the Starlight. This is going to help you in your plays if you want to an extra do a normal summoner set, and also it can burn your opponent for 800 points of damage and decrease their monster's attack by 800. Then we run Nibiru, because Nibiru, I've got this in the deck specifically to just like Nibiru your opponent if they get too crazy, because I am running Cross-Out Designator in the deck. And then 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. This came out in the All Brass Structure deck. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, if they have a monster, if activated its effect, you can discard this card to destroy it, and it is a quick effect, which has been seen a lot of play lately. And then 3 Crossout Designators. Yes, I do run Crossout Designators, and yes, these are the Korean or Japanese version. I actually got these before the Crossout Designator was in the TCG. So how this works is you're going to activate it, and then you're going to send it into Bureau or Ash or whatever in your hand and banish it, and then your opponent has to banish that exact same card or copies of it. So basically, it shuts them down if they have an Bureau, because if you banished Bureau, they have to do the same thing. All right, and then we run 3 copies of Dark Roller No More. This is going to negate all opponents' and monsters' effects. They just don't take any battle damage this turn, which is fine. This is a great failsafe. And then 1 Call by the Grave, because it's at 1. This is going to do the same thing as DD Crow, which will banish a card in your opponent's graveyard or your graveyard. And then we've got 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is really good because it's a counter trap that's going to negate, and it's going to give you that field presence and everything, which you're going to definitely need. All right, so that's going to be it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is just so much fun to play, and I'm always updating, always changing it around, and always finding new formulas and stuff. And I've always loved Blackwings. I'm always going to be playing this. This is the deck that I would take with me to tournaments, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, because I love this deck. And if you cannot afford Small World, like I said before in the video, there's other options, completely better options out there for you to be able to use, because obviously I do recognize that it is a expensive card, and by all means, I don't, wouldn't recommend you just having it and stuff. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed that, and it was a lot of fun to do. So I'm going to look forward to another Blackwing deck profile next month or in July. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.